All right, please be joined by Colin Montgomerie. And man, Monty, you have really been a big part of the Ryder Cup. Over 20 years, been part of your life. How special has that been?
It's been a very special time. I'm very proud to be part of the history of that era. It was the start of Tiger Woods' era within the Ryder Cup, and I saw that through as well, which was great. And to be part of that history, that theatre, that drama, when you look back on it, is superb. And now you go to the Ryder Cups and you can feel the atmosphere, feel that energy from the crowd that I was given and the whole team were given. It is something very, very special.
Well, speaking of the energy, a lot of it goes back to the spirit of Seve Ballesteros. And you were on his team. You went out last in the anchor match for him in Spain.
Yeah.
What an honor that must have been. What were the moments like for you sharing with Seve in that victory?
Well, the Ryder Cup went to Spain because of Seve. He was captain because of it. The King of Spain was there. The whole thing was set up for Seve to win. Seve, somehow Tom Kite was in a very difficult position, the opposing American captain, that he just couldn't win. Whatever was going to happen, Seve, it was in the gods, somehow that Seve was going to win. And unfortunately, it came down to me the last of the game to get the final point, to seal victory. But it was all for him. I mean, that was all. We just were playing for him. There was nothing else. Lazabal, Jimenez, there was Garrido, there was a lot of Spanish influence within the setup, the admin setup, and of course with Seve himself and Valderrama, such a special course that we just won for him. And it didn't matter who got the points or who was playing or whatever it was. We got 14.5 points for Seve.
Well, it didn't matter who got the points, but you got the most for that week. That's got to be special for you looking back on 3.5 of that group.
I mean, to get 3.5, we lost our first match, Bernard Langer and I, which was surprising. In 4-ball against, surprising here. Hang on a minute, we're playing Woods and O'Meara. Hang on a minute.
That's right. After he won the Masters,
having won the Masters, so we thought, okay, fine. But we knew that Woods was struggling on that particular golf course. It was very, very tight, and it didn't really suit him. It suited actually Mark O'Meara better. So we thought we'd have him in foursomes, or alternate shot, which we did. We lost 5 and 4 in the morning, and we won 5 and 4 in the afternoon.
Later on,
so we got them back. But it was great. The draw comes out Tiger Woods. I mean, it is special. There's no doubt. And to forget the defeat, to shake his hand when you beat him is a big deal. I don't care who you are. So it was great to be part of that and to get, as you said, as many points for Seve as possible. I remember the practice round. There was myself and Langer, and there was Faldo and Ian Woosnam. So I mean, we'd done enough in the world of golf even before that. But
not a bad 4.
Not a bad 4-ball. And we played the 17th hole, which was redesigned by Seve a few years previous, and he was very proud of this 17th hole that he'd designed. And he thought we hadn't played it properly, so he sent us back to the tee. It's a par 5, so he sent us back a third of a mile to play the hole again. He wasn't happy with the way that we had played that hole. Now Faldo, you can imagine, wasn't happy. Langer has worked this out in nth degree beforehand. I was just laughing, and Ian Woosnam just wanted a pint. He wanted to go into the bar after we finished. So it was just like, what the hell's going on here?
As any good Welshman would.
As any good Welshman would, and Scotsman to follow. So we went back to the tee and did it again, and people are going, Seve's just sent back these 4 to play this hole again. But that was what he was like. He was so determined to win this, and as I say, we won it for him. Yeah.
Well, and you look at the Ryder Cup that just happened there, 2023. Paul McGinley told me that he thinks it was one of the best European Tour teams ever, European teams in the Ryder Cup ever. What was your takeaway from how they played?
Oh, well, I think you look at the weakness of a team in many ways, and you look at the rookies, and our rookies there, you'll find in the future, Ludwig Aberg is going to be a star, if not already. Nicholas Højbjerg, I think, is going to be a star, if not already.
Højgaard, yeah.
Højgaard. Robert McIntyre is the next big thing to come out of Scotland, which is great for us.
Since you, right, the next big one.
Absolutely, that'll be great. And Sepp Straka was a very solid performer and a top 30 player in America. When you think of that as our rookies, that's why our team was so strong. And we won that Ryder Cup because of not just them, but because of our top 3 had to perform. They didn't perform in Whistling Straits. That's why we got thrashed in Whistling Straits. But they did perform in Rome, and that's Rahm, that's McIlroy, and that's Hovland, and they performed, and they had to perform, and they did perform, and to start off that singles, to get the 2.5 points out of 3 from those 3 was vital for our win there. Yeah.
Well, obviously the Ryder Cup has defined your career so much over the years, but also Royal Troon, and that great course is always like a home open for you.
Yes,
it's going back there again this year. You played it many times in the Opens. What do you like about that as an Open Championship test?
I mean, to be honest with you, I know it's my home, and my father's, in 94, still living there, an ex-president of the club, and all the stuff that goes on. To be honest, I mean, it's not. I wouldn't say it was my favourite course of that open rota. I think down the road, Turnberry, I think everyone would agree would be a better golf course, more character to it. Troon's tough. Troon's very tough. The first 3 holes are a giveaway, and then the last 15 holes are as tough as you get. So it's more tough than it is character. But I know it. I know every inch of grass on the place. I know every inch of a blade of grass on the course. So I look forward to trying to qualify, as I did in 2016, 7 years ago, to try and qualify for the Open. It's the last one that I would play in, and if I'm going to play in a last Open, apart from St Andrews, I'd love to play at my home course at Troon. Yeah.
Why not? Right?
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting. We think about favorite memories in the game. You've got so many people you've met over your career. Seve, that you've been in many battles with, Valdo, a lot of the European Tour leaders. What's one of your favorite memories with the Big Five of Europe? Like, if you were to pick out one of them.
I think it has to go back. Faldo, Langer were very similar. I wouldn't say they were the most talented players, and that's not being cruel. But my God, they worked, and they worked hard, and they got the most out of what they were given. Woosie was talented, but Sandy Lyle was the most talented of all. He was incredible.
Just happened to be a Scotsman.
Yeah, I mean, sorry for that. It just happened to be Scottish, And then you've got Seve. I think it goes back to Seve, really. The first time I played with Seve was in 1991 at Crans-Montana, which was the Swiss Open, the Swiss Masters, we called it, the European Open at the time. And I shook his hand on the first tee. It was the 3rd round. I was very nervous. I hadn't slept the night before. And I happened to hold my second shot on the first. It was a par 5. And I hit a 3-wood and I hold it. And I shook his hand again 5 minutes after shaking it on the first hole, on the first tee. And
Thank you very much.
Yeah, and I thought that was, okay, to shake Seve's hand twice within 5 minutes was a good effort. So I'll always take that memory with me, And I have a message that from Seve. He wasn't well in 2010. In fact, he died in May 2011. And when I was captain of the Ryder Cup team in 2010 myself, Elazabal called him up from our team room, and we put him on a speakerphone, and he was giving us all a bit of a rousing speech from his bed at home in Spain, and it was incredible, the emotion in the room, especially with the Spaniards that were there. Garcia was there, Jimenez, there was Elazabal. It was an amazing emotion within the room. Everybody talking to this God, our God, really. Seve, who wasn't well, and wishing us all well, and the team as a whole. It was an incredible feeling. So it all goes back to that one guy. He was an amazing character, and you can't believe that it's coming up 13 years since he passed away. But he was the most passionate man I've ever met. Whether he be a golfer or a footballer or a cricketer or whatever he might be, he was the most passionate man I've ever met and ever will meet.
Yeah. I've always thought that the spirit of Seve and Tiger Woods, those two things, are the greatest storylines in golf the last 25 years, just what they represent.
I would agree, yeah.
And just to close up, we have about a minute and a half left. Just a couple sentences on the 5 topics I have here, just for the average player at home. Driving, what are a couple sentences on how we can get better at driving?
Well, it would be the same. Most amateurs, and this might be, and I don't know your 5 points, but the first point could link into the next 4. Light hands at address. most amateurs strangle the club at address, and they don't allow themselves to get back far enough to turn to hit the ball properly. So light hands at address is key with the driver.
Well, you've always been a great scorer. You were #1 in stroke average and 99 on the European Tour. What's the right attitude to have going into a round to score well?
Well, I don't think it's to get ahead of yourself. I think you just do the best on every shot. And that was, I think I averaged it at 68 point something, which is always great, to average that. You're going to win a few tournaments.
Not too shabby.
Yeah, but it's a matter of starting off fine, it's a matter of hitting the fairways. And I was never the longest. Langer was never the longest out here in the Champions Tour. But you hit the fairways, you hit the greens, you have a birdie putt. And that's what I was doing. I was hitting the greens, I was hitting the fairways, and I was giving myself a birdie putt 16 times around. I was holding, say, 4 of them, which wasn't great, but I was holding 4 birdie putts around, not making a mistake. You add that up, that's 16 under for the 4 days. And that's usually a top 5-ish, and it possibly, you might just win. That's what I was doing. I was eliminating the mistakes, and that was the key thing.
And speaking of the mistakes, we're all going to run into a bunker at some point. What's the right approach, mindset to have over a bunker shot?
Well, a lot of people, unfortunately, in a bunker shot, they walk the 150 yards towards the bunker in a complete panic, don't they? They're in complete panic and fear of this next shot's going to happen. It's actually quite an easy shot, as long as you open the club face. People go into a bunker with a closed club face and they either dig the ball or they thin the ball. Amateurs are fearful of opening that club face up. So making that 60-degree loft 80 degrees and now swinging, and it's amazing the difference that makes. But a lot of them also do not follow through. You can do all the stuff, you can open the club face and do all the stuff you have to do in the bunker, but if you do not follow through, the ball's not coming out. So you've got to follow through. Be confident enough to open the face and follow through.
When it comes to chipping, is follow through like a big key as well, getting the acceleration?
Chipping especially is more light hands, okay? People strangle it, they're short in the backswing, they're quick, they're jerky, they get far too much. So I would encourage anybody chipping to go and practice with light hands. And what it does, it takes the strain and the stress out the forearms, right? Takes all that stress away and allows you to feel the weight of the club head. And if you can feel the weight of the club head, you can swing it through and allow yourself, as you say, so rightly say, to follow through with that chip shot. But you can't do it with heavy hands on the club grip. You've got to have light hands on that grip to start with.
And the last one is putting. Does it come down to confidence typically?
A lot of people, God, they say, oh, I knew I was going to do that. I knew I was going to miss that. I mean, to a professional, well, that's no good, okay? So we have to start with a so-called belief that it's going to go in. And if you're confident of doing anything in life, you're halfway to achieving it, right? So if you're confident, you can then achieve it. So please be over the ball thinking it's going to go in, okay? Because the ball has no idea who's hitting it, whether it's Tiger or whether it's him out there, okay? So the ball has no memory. So please be confident. And again, light hands allows you to follow through to the hole, and it's key. Light hands.
Again, Colin Montgomerie, thanks for all you've done for the Ryder Cup over the years, and thanks for these tips as well.